Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday, March 14th, 2024. Glad to be alive again. Today's topic will be on manifesting with an abundant mindset, and a lot of things to talk about with that because I know it can be challenging to have an abundant mindset when you feel you have lack in your life, right? So we're going to go into that and give you different tools and tips on how to create an abundant mindset. So thank you for so much for joining me. And if you have questions about the topic as I go along, please ask your questions because this is really an important topic. I know that in my own personal life, when I start to look at situations differently, from different angles, not just one way, I start to create abundance in my life naturally and organically. So this is why this topic is so critical and important. So let's just clear the energy of the room and then we'll get started. And if you have any questions about it, please ask the question. So welcome to this live session about manifesting with an abundant mindset. Thank you. Dear God, angel, spirit, guides, and mass, I've sent a massive divine creator. Thank you so much for allowing us to create this sacred space. Thank you so much for creating a high vibrational frequency during this space. Thank you so much for allowing us to put forth this message to the viewers for their highest and best good. Thank you so much for removing any low frequency energies that are in this room. Thank you for protecting the sacred space and allowing this session to go off without a hitch, with flow, ease, peace, and serenity. Thank you. Namaste. Okay. Hi, Swarupa. How are you? Nice to see you. Okay. So just before I get started, want to remind you about the 69 moons, Yu Ping Fang Sun Plus and Xiaoya Sun Plus. Xiaoya Sun Plus is to help calm and focus the mind. Yu Ping Fang Sun is to help support a healthy immune system. And these are formulas where we added additional herbs to the classical traditional Chinese medicine formulas. And the reason why I'm so passionate about traditional Chinese medicine, one, because I've been practicing it with acupuncture and herbs for many years now. And it's really helped me for my own digestion, immunity, stress, among other things. And I'm very passionate about TCM as well because it's based on energetic system. You know, I talk about the energy all the time. It's based on Qi energy and yin yang energies and the 5 element energies. And it's the whole TCM, which is a 5,000-year-old system, is based on an energetic system. That's why I became very interested in TCM and incorporating into my own life. So check out the herbs and see what you think. Okay, so let's get started. I'm gonna give you the link to the website where you can get the herbs, and also you can also get my prayer beads. These are custom designed based on the crescent moon and round sun, the yin and yang energies. They come in 10 different color combinations with either the prayer necklace or the prayer bracelets, and they're custom designed by me with the crescent moon and the round sun to leverage the power of the yin and yang energies. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's get started in this topic of how to have that abundant mindset. So there's a beautiful quote I never forget this, by the amazing coach Tony Robbins, who says, it's not the situation that matters, it's what meaning you give to the situation that matters. It's not the situation that matters, it's what meaning you give to the situation that matters. And so one of the things about Law of Attraction 101 is, and you want to leverage the law of attraction, the laws of the law of attraction, because you're leveraging the power of the universal forces to help you manifest, because everything is energetic forces. Everything is also intertwined as one. So if you're not leveraging the power of the universal forces and law of attraction, you're not maximizing your ability to manifest. That's what it is. You want to maximize that ability to manifest, whether it's a job, a career, money, relationship, love, right? you want to maximize your chances. And so the universal forces of energy is a very, very powerful thing. And so if you're not maximizing that power, you're really minimizing your ability to manifest. And this is where I think a lot of us have gone wrong or have not been able to maximize, because we don't understand the laws of the universe and the laws of energy and the laws of attraction. And so one of the things that the law always says is that whatever you think or you put out is what the universe shows you in return. And so one of the fundamental things of having this this abundant mindset is not to be, and this is the secret here about the abundant mindset. The abundant mindset has to be a mindset that is abundant regardless of what your experience shows. So for example, if you have, let's say, $2 in the bank and you're saying, Moon, you know, I have $2 in the bank. How can you say that I'm abundant? How can you say I'm abundant if I have $2 in the bank? And as you keep observing that $2 in the bank, what happens? You keep putting that frequency, the $2 in the bank, $2 in the bank, $2 in the bank frequency out into the universe. So as you keep observing, but you say, Moon, that's evidence. It's evidence because that's what I have. How can you deny evidence? Yes, it is true that you have $2 in the bank, but you have to remember that the $2 in the bank is a result, is a byproduct of what energies you've put out for the past 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. It's really just the evidence of what you've put out energetically for the number of years that you've put it out. That's what that evidence is showing. Because if you had put out a different energetic signal of frequency out into the universe, your bank would probably show a lot more than $2 in the bank. And so one of the secrets here is that when you become a poor observer of what you of your life, an observer that is thinking lack, observing lack, observing not having this, not having that, life is unfair. As you keep observing that, because you don't have the money, you don't have the relationship, you don't have that job, all you do is you continue to broadcast that frequency out to the universe. And the universe, because it's inclusive, will only show you the same. It will only return the same and show you the same. And so then you get into, so then as you keep putting out, observing the same thing, $2 in the bank, $2 in the bank, $2 in the bank, the universe shows you $2 in the bank, $2 in the bank, $2 in the bank. Do you see how it becomes like this vicious cycle? You run into this vicious cycle. It's a vicious cycle, and you're spinning around and around and around. It's like a little, a little mice in, those wheel of circle, and it just goes, spins, but it's not getting anywhere. All it's doing is this, and it's not getting anywhere. Well, that's what's happening in your life because you keep observing what you call evidence. So what evidence really is the physical manifestation of what energetic signal you keep putting out. That's what evidence really is. Let me repeat that. Evidence is really the physical manifestation of what energy you keep putting out over and over and over again. And you call that evidence because now it's physical manifestation. So you've got to call that evidence, right? And you say, that's the truth. That's the truth. And therefore, then you make the conclusion, well, if I have $2 in the bank, then I must be poor. Yes, you might be poor in the bank account, but you were never poor internally. You were never poor internally. But you're associating that $2 in the bank with that your life, you are poor. That association creates a very lack mentality, lack mindset. And that lack mindset, as you keep broadcasting out into the universe keeps showing it back in return, back in return, back in return. So one of my favorite law of attraction teachers, Abraham Hicks, always says humans are very bad observers. Why? Because as they keep observing lack, they keep putting that energetic signal out there, and then they keep seeing back lack in return. That's why she says humans are poor observers of their life, of their experience, of their reality. And so what it is this, is that when you see that $2 in the bank, the way to really come out of that, how can I train myself more? How can I train myself to see something abundant when all I see is lack? How do I do that? That's not easy, right? Think about it. If you see $2 in the bank and you want to become a millionaire and you're like, Moon, you're asking me to do something that is not realistic, that I can't do, because I keep observing it and I keep thinking I'm lacking. That's a hard jump to make, right? From somebody who's got $2 in the bank to somebody who's got $1 million in the bank. That's a huge gap right there. You've got this huge gap between those two things. And so those gaps in between is what you've got to work on. You're here and you're trying to get your mindset to here, right? You're here, but you need to get your mindset here. How do you do that? How do you get your mindset from here to here? And so one of the things is that that mindset is so important. One of the things is that, so when you see $2 in the bank, you pause. You say, oh, I just had an awareness that I'm saying to myself, I have $2 in the bank and therefore I'm poor. Pause. When you say something like that, you've got to pause. You've got to pause. And then what you say to yourself is, okay, let me pause for a second. Let me think about this. How can I look this in a different way? Rather than looking at it from the perspective of I'm poor, how can I look at it in a way that makes me feel a little bit more abundant? Even if it's 1% more abundant or 2% more abundant. How can I shift this? How can I make it more general? How can I put a general thought in my mind and say it out loud that actually makes me realistically feel not so lack, even if it's 1 or 2% better? So for example, if you say, I have $2 in the bank, I'm poor, pause that thought. What can I say that makes me feel 1% or 2% more abundant? You could say, I am grateful for the food I have on the table. I am grateful for the roof I have over my head. Even though I have $2 in the bank, I am grateful for the roof over my head and the food on the table, right? That's realistic. You're not going from $2 to becoming a millionaire. I'm not asking you to do something extreme like that. I'm asking you to get something that makes you feel even 2% more abundant. Because anytime that you're grateful for anything in your life, even if you just simply said, well, I have $2 in the bank, I'm abundant and I'm grateful for the breath. I'm grateful for the body to keep me alive so I can manifest, right? That's 2% better. Then after you say that and you feel 2% better, then later, and you keep practicing that, next, what can you say that's 5% better? That makes you 5% feel more abundant. 5%. We're not going from 2% to 20%. We're going from 5%. So what we're doing is we're moving up that ladder step by step, step by step, step by step. We're not making a quantum leap. I have never seen anybody make a quantum leap. Well, maybe there are people that can make that quantum leap, but I still have yet to see a person that has made that quantum leap. So the next step is, what can I say to myself that feels 5% better that is still realistic to me, right? Because you're not going from one extreme to the other. You're moving up that ladder step by step. So next is 5% better. Well, I just said to myself, while I have $2 in the bank, I'm grateful for the food on the table and the roof over my head. Now, what can I say that makes me feel 5% better? Maybe it's something like, while I have $2 in the bank, I know I'm creative and resourceful, right? I'm creative, I'm resourceful, which means that using your creativity and resourcefulness, you can go up the financial ladder, because you need the mind to make money, right? You need all of that creative energy to make money, right? Because you have to have good ideas, then you have to make good decisions, right? That leads to making more money. So you could say, you know what? I acknowledge that I have creativity. I acknowledge that I have these gifts and talents. You could acknowledge that. Is that unrealistic to say? Absolutely not. Because you do have it. Each one of you has it uniquely. The way God has created in you, your energetic, unique blueprint. Each one of you have unique talents and gifts. So to say that I acknowledge my unique talents and gifts is not unbelievable to you, right? Because you have to believe it. The believing is what matters. You're not going to say something that you don't believe at that moment. You've got to believe it. And then after you've mastered that part, I have gifts and talents. And let's say you've written it down. You said, these are my gifts. These are my talents. Yes, I believe in them. I believe I have them. I just maybe haven't applied it the way I want to apply it. Or maybe I haven't utilized it to the fullest as I could. But I have it. And I acknowledge that. And I feel it. So then after that, it's like, okay, now I feel 5% better. Now let's go to the third step. How can I feel 10% better, 10% more abundant, or maybe 15% more abundant from that statement? What can I say that makes me now feel 10 to 15% better? Because you started from 0, that I am not abundant, I am poor, and you're now going up that ladder, 2%, 5%. The next might be 10 to 15%. What can I say to myself that allows me to feel 10 to 15% more abundant? What statement can I make? So if the first statement was that made you feel 2% better was, while I have $2 in the bank, I'm grateful for the food I have on the table and the roof over my head. Then you're getting to 5% better. I acknowledge that I have unique talents and gifts that God has bestowed upon me. And you're looking at your list of talents and gifts. What can you say that makes you feel 10 or 15% better? You could say something like, wow, I have these talents and gifts, and I could start to apply them to make more money. That there's a possibility that I could make more money by using these talents and gifts. You see how you keep moving up that ladder? Step 1, step 2, step 3, you keep moving up that ladder inch by inch. And if you practice this, let's say 1 month, or even 2 or 3 weeks, think about how much more you've stepped up that ladder. You're here, and now you're here. And then another month, 2 months, 3. It's a huge cumulative effect. You're turning a mole into a mountain. It's a huge cumulative effect. So the secret here is not to go from believing that you have $2 in the bank and then now I am so abundant that I have $1 million. It's not to do this. It's not to make that quantum leap, because very few people can make it, and it's not realistic because you're not going to believe it. If you have $2 in the bank right now, you're not going to say, oh, I believe I'm worth $1 million. Very few people can make that jump, right? Because that observation of that $2 in the bank has gained so much momentum within you that you can't make that quantum leap. That's why it's really about just stepping up that ladder inch by inch. What can I say now that makes me feel a little bit more abundant? And then a week later, what can I say now that makes me feel 15% more abundant? Then the next week, what can I say that makes me feel 20% more abundant? Then the next week, you say, what can I say that makes me feel 30% more abundant? You see how this works? It's the practice. And then if you, let's say you say a statement that you don't believe, you just come up with a statement and it doesn't feel like you believe it, then change the statement. Let that statement go and say, what can I say to myself that I truly believe now that I'm more abundant than I was yesterday or last week or last month? It's a believability thing, because the belief, your emotions, is what you signal out to the universe. It's the emotion. You bring in a thought, and then that thought, as you keep repeating it, becomes almost a belief. And then that belief creates an emotional state. And that emotional state becomes an energetic frequency that broadcasts out into the universe. And then the universe, in its infinite wisdom, matches it. That's why it's about every cell in your body believing it, believing that statement that you're making right now. And if you don't believe it, then put it to the side. You might believe it in the future. You don't believe it in now. It doesn't mean you have to get rid of that belief altogether. It means just set it aside and bring in a statement, bring in a thought that you truly believe that makes you feel a little bit more abundant in the now. That's the secret. That's the secret. Hi, Corey. Hi, Skylar. Okay, let's see. Do you guys have any questions? You're welcome. You're welcome. Oh, that's so sweet, Corey. Thank you so much for your donation. Okay, Skylar says, I find that to attract more and become abundant, we must be in acceptance and grateful for everything we have in the now. Absolutely. That is the foundation of abundance. The foundation for all abundance is to be grateful in the now with whatever you have, or whatever state you're in, is to be grateful in the now. And there's a million things you could be grateful in the now. What is that you cannot be grateful? How about your breath? Can you be grateful for your breath or the air that you breathe? Think about that. If you don't have your lungs or the air, you're going to suffocate. And we take that for granted. You know, when my late sister's son, you know what her symptom was? What her symptom was for stage 4 cancer? She couldn't breathe. And you know what she said? We all take our breath for granted. The air that we breathe and the lungs and everything, we take it all for granted. She says, Moon, it was the scariest thing I had ever experienced in my life. It was worse than if somebody had chopped off my arm. When I could not even breathe for like 2 or 3 minutes, it was sheer panic, fear, panic at levels that she could not even imagine. Because what happened was the cancer that she had filled up her lungs with water. And so she couldn't breathe. So just even being grateful for your breath, for the body, all the cells in your body, is the foundation for abundance. Anything. You could say, I'm grateful that I live in a peaceful place. I'm grateful that I have a roof over my head. I'm grateful for my dog. I'm grateful for my bed. I'm grateful for, the food on the table. I'm grateful for my community. I'm grateful for the fact that I could walk, the fact that I could exercise, the fact that, I can talk, the fact that I have people in my life. I mean, there's a million things you could be grateful for, a million things. And that is the essence of abundance. If you can't feel abundant at all right now because you think you have lack, go to gratefulness. List 3 things immediately that you could be grateful for. 3 things. Anytime that you feel that you are lacking or that you are not, that you're not abundant, Go to 3 things right now that you could be thankful for and grateful for. 3 things, just list them. And you will start to put it into perspective. That's what it's about. It's about putting it into perspective. You're welcome, Dr. DZ. Hello, Simi. Okay, let's see if anybody has questions. And thank you, Corey, for all of your donations. Deeply appreciate it. Not expected, but deeply appreciate it. Simi says, I want to help people with mental health. I applied for my master's for social work and have been rejected 90% of them. I'm feeling lost in Korea and as a result in abundance. Yes, Simi. And Simi says, how can I build a belief that can help me people doing what I love and make abundant money? Okay. And Corey, I'll get to your question afterwards. Okay. Let's do Simi and then we'll do Corey. So what you're saying is you want to go into mental health and you've applied for master's for social work, rejected 90% of them. And so you're feeling really lost. Okay. So this is the exercise that I would do. And I understand if you're rejected 90% of the time, that's going to make you feel defeated, right? You want to give up, right? So the thing is that first of all, I want you to know that you shouldn't give up on your journey. Absolutely not. That I just want to say, and this is again, reframing everything, looking at things in a different perspective, right? Because now you're looking at it in a tunnel vision. You're looking at it in one way, Simi way of 90% applications. I've been rejected by everything. And now I don't think I could go on this path. I'm feeling very dejected and very depressed and losing faith, right? Let me just tell you something. The most successful people that you would say are successful, or society would say is successful, have been rejected maybe 99% of the time, or 95% of the time. Right? And it's true. They have been. The most successful people have been rejected more than 90% of the time. Think about that. Think about what that means. When you are rejected and they're the most successful people, why? Because what it is what the universe is preparing you for is how can I become more creative, more resilient, more committed? That's what there's universal forces that test you. It's testing your resolve. It's testing your commitment. It's testing to your authenticity of whether you really want to be on this path. It's testing you. And so you could say, oh, this is an opportunity for me to be more creative, more resourceful. And maybe going to a master's degree is not the way to go. How can I look at it differently? How can I bring in my creative energy, my creative resources? This is the greatest opportunity to be resilient, to have resolve, to have commitment, to bring up all of the creative juices that I have inside. What can I do to really be more creative in this situation? That's what this is teaching me. Or maybe I could help people with mental health without getting a social worker degree. Maybe I don't need it. Or maybe I could take an online course in mental health. Do I really need to get a master's degree? So what I'm saying is the universe is saying, how can you be more creative? How can you be more resourceful? How can you be more resilient and committed? Because if you are, and you find a different angle to do, maybe the universe is saying, look at it differently. Look at it from a different angle. Think about more options and possibilities. Getting a master's degree is not the end all be all to do this work. Maybe you're to serve it in a different way. You're going to help people with their mental health, but maybe that's not the path that you should be taking. Maybe maybe the infinite wisdom of God wants you to say, look, hey, look at this door. You keep looking at this door, but maybe you want to look at this door or this door. There's many different ways to get to that path, many different roads to that path. It's like if you're going from, let's say, San Francisco to New York, is there only one way to get to San Francisco to New York, or is there 1,000 ways that you could get to San Francisco to New York? There's about 1,000 ways, right? There's about 1,000 different roads, directions, and journey that you could take to get to New York. So what the universe might be saying is don't keep looking at it in one way. Open your heart, open your mind. Bring up that creative force, the energy force. Bring it up. And then think about that. Think about that. If you do go on that journey of being more creative, more resilient, more resourceful, and you get there where you are helping people mental health in a way that you can't even imagine, think about how much growth you feel in yourself, how much expansion and growth you have. You're like, oh my God, I never even imagined my life to be this expansive, this amazing. I never imagined, because I kept my heart and mind open to different roads, different paths. And because I went on this journey, I've expanded exponentially, okay? So you have to look at it from a different angle. And that's an abundant angle. The angle that I just showed you is an abundant angle. Just because one door closes, that's actually a blessing in disguise. That means a better door will open. So you can say, you know what? This door closed, a better door opens for me. I say that constantly. And you know, whenever I say that, you know what happens? Sure enough, something comes in. Something comes in. I'm like, whoa. I always say, the one door closes, a better door opens. And the universe is giving me a sign to look at other options. You're not abandoning your dream of helping people with mental health. You're not abandoning that dream. What you're abandoning is there's only one way to do it. There's many ways to do it. Okay. So Simi, what a beautiful question you asked. And I wish you so much luck in that journey. And I wish you the best, because you will get there. You will get there. Okay. Okay, Corey, let's go to Corey. I don't know how to make a stable relationship. I just don't know. I keep doing work and I just don't know. Okay. You don't know how to make a stable relationship. Okay, so the stability of a stable relationship really comes when you feel stable yourself. So the fact that you say, I don't know how to make a stable relationship already says a lot, that you yourself internally have to feel stable with you in your life. That's a mental and emotional state. Because if there's not that balance within you, how can you have balance with people outside of you? So the work here is not to be focused on having a stable relationship with people outside of you. The work is, how can I have a stable relationship with myself? What can I do to center myself, to ground myself to Mother Earth, Gaia? Am I grounded? Am I mentally, emotionally grounded? Am I mentally, emotionally stable? Because if you don't have that, you cannot create stable relationships with people outside of you. You cannot do that. Because what the universe is showing, the experiences that you have around you, is just a hologram of what's going on inside. So Corey, the exercises, and I talk about, exercises that make you feel grounded, tips that make you feel grounded. What can I do to make me feel grounded and stable? How about nature? Nature always makes everyone feel grounded and stable. I don't know of anybody that does not love nature. Because why? Why is nature such a beautiful effect? Because nature is grounded. nature is stable, nature is centered, right? So when you're in that energy, it's only going to influence you, right? You're going to absorb that energy, right? So that's one way to feel more stable and grounded. Also, the people around you. Who are you allowing in your experience? What kind of friends and family are you allowing in your experience? Are you allowing people who are not grounded to be in your experience? Especially like friends. I know family is a little bit harder to remove from your life, but especially like friends. Who are the people that are making you not feel centered and grounded? Or they're just bringing this low frequency energy that makes you just feel stressed and exhausted and lethargic. You've got to set those boundaries. You got to make a break. You make a break from those friends, and then you send them blessing from afar. You say, I send you lots of blessing from afar, and you make that energetic break. Because the people around you will affect that as well. So bring in the things in your life that are going to make you feel stable. Because once you start feeling that, right, you are then broadcasting that energetic signal out to the planet, and the universe in its infinite wisdom will start to bring you people who are more stable. Have you noticed that people attract the kind of people that they are? So angry people tend to be around angry people. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that joyous people tend to be around joyous people? Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that people who have peace and serenity in their life are surrounded by people who have peace and serenity? Have you noticed that? Just think about that. I don't know anybody that's very happy in their life that have angry people in their life. I don't know anybody. Usually when I see happy people, they're surrounded by other happy, grounded people. So the work is the inner work. Because once you get more stable with yourself, Corey, you will attract that stability of relationship. Because those people are evidence. The universe is showing you the inner work they want you to do. They're saying to you, get stable inside. And I have lots of guided meditations, to help you feel more grounded. I have lots of guided meditations. So use my guided meditation resources for that. Okay, so beautiful question. And Corey, thank you so much for all of the donations you provided. I'm deeply, deeply grateful to you. Deeply. I see you provided a bunch of, okay. Let's see now. Simi, how can I build the belief that if I can help people doing what I love? Okay, I think I answered your question, Simi, about this mental health, and what you need to, how you could see it from a different perspective. Hello, Christy K. Oh, you're welcome. Vivian Nigeri or Neri. Hi, hey Moon. I am feeling lost. I am not sure where to start. I graduated in 2017. Couldn't find employment. I began online work, which became obsolete. I desire to start business, but lack ideas. Okay. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us. You're welcome, Vivian Nigeri. So you're looking for the purposeful work that makes you feel alive and motivated when you get up, right? That makes total sense. And the fact that you recognized where you are at, I'm deeply grateful for you that you have recognized that, you know what, I'm lost and I don't know how to find this work that makes me feel motivated, that makes me feel inspired, that makes me feel expansive, right? Because that's the essence of each one of us, that we want to express the highest level of ourselves, right? You want to express the highest level of who Vivian is. And so I would say that this is a time to really do some inner work, mindfulness work about you, about who Vivian Neri is or Nigeri is. So this is a time, take a little time off now. Don't look for a job. Don't look for this. Take some time to really figure out you. What motivates you? What interests you? What are your talents and gifts? Take the time to figure that out. So you could even open up a journal and say, Vivian Najeri is, and then have a column for your talents, your gifts, your interests. What would motivate you? Just write every day. Make one page. What are my gifts and talents? Another page. What are my interests? Another page. What motivates me? And then, you see that, you just write it down and don't overthink it. Whatever comes from your head to pen and paper, free flowing, write everything down, everything, just free flow, write it all down. Don't double think. Don't double think, because you can remove things later or you could add things later. So this is not about overthinking. Just keep going. Shh, 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 shh. And then maybe a few days later, you put it aside. A few days later, or 7 days later, or 2 weeks later, when you're in a state of feeling some level of calm, stability, peace, you go back to it. And you look at the list that you've created, a list of Vivian's talents and gifts. You look at all the qualities that you've stated for your talents and gifts. Oh, I have a gift of, I'm great with numbers, or I'm great with counseling others, or I'm great at writing. I know that comes naturally to me. My niece, she's great with math. I mean, she's just like a math genius. She's like, it's amazing how great she is with math. And so you look at that list and you say, what really holds true? Because are these gifts and talents that you've listed, are all of them true? And the ones that you're like, no, that's not true, I just made that up, then cross it out. Or maybe you missed something. Maybe you needed to add something to that list. Like, oh, I forgot that I'm really, really visual person. I'm good at design. I forgot that. Let me write that down. So you're revising, you're making sure that list is really reflective of you, Vivian. And then you take that list, and then after, let's say, a few weeks or a month, you says, I feel good about this. Because you could review it a few times before you say, I feel good about this. I feel confident. I believe in this. I believe everything that I wrote. Then you could say, then that's the time to say, okay, how can I apply these unique gifts and talents to a field or a company? How can I apply it now to the practical world? Do I take these gifts? Would working with animals really shine these gifts and talents in who I am? Or maybe being an engineer, or maybe being a social worker, or maybe, working as a teacher. What are the fields that could really pair well with who I am? What are the fields? What are the fields? Write it all down. And then you could say, okay, this makes sense. These are the areas that I could apply who I am in a meaningful way, in a way that makes me feel motivated, interested. And then you say, okay, well, you know what? How can I paired who I am with the fields that I could apply my gifts and talents and who I am. And then now how am I going to work in that field? So maybe the first thing might be to just do an internship. Maybe, maybe somebody's not going to pay you right away to do. Maybe you could volunteer 1 day a week or 2 days a week in that field, because maybe you don't have the necessary skill sets or the necessary experience. You can also say, what courses do I take online? You could take lots of courses online. Everything's online. That could develop the skills for this. Who can I talk to that's in this field? Who can I speak with that could help me, guide me to a direction to actually work in that field, applying who I am? So you see how I've broken down step by step? It's about knowing you first. B, it's about knowing, pairing the different industries that you could apply it to. And then 3, it's how can I get into that industry or that company? What are the different ways that I could do this? There's lots of different ways. Okay, so that's what I would suggest that you try. Okay, Vivian, thank you so much. Beautiful question. And I wish you so much love and blessings. Okay. Okay, Simi says I'm looking for a guidance from universe in terms of what door to take next. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you heard what I said to you, right, Simi? I hope you heard. Your question was, let me see, about the mental health. So what I'm saying is you've got to do that exercise first. And by doing that exercise first, it will nudge you to a certain direction, nudge you. You're going to get a nudge, or you're going to get signs from spirit. You're going to go about life, and then all of a sudden you're going to see something, like all of a sudden, and then it clicks. Oh, okay, take that step. You only have to take one step. You don't have to take 10 steps, because when you take that step, then something will happen, and then you'll take the next step, and then something will happen and you'll take the next step. It's one step at a time. That's flow. You're not looking to, 10 steps, because that one step might lead you this way or this way. And then next step will lead you this way and this way. So what you're doing is you're doing that exercise, and then you're paying attention to life. What is life showing you? What is the universe showing? Which is the flow? Is the universe opening the door for me in this direction? Or is the universe opening the door for me in that direction? That's how you expand and grow, because once you start to listen and you start to take one step at a time, you start to build confidence in yourself. Even if what you might think it's not the best decision, there is no wrong or right decision, to tell you the truth, because it's just about having a journey in this life for the expansion and growth of your soul. So when people say, I made a bad decision, it's not really a bad decision, because what it is this, it's a decision that they needed to make to be able to be enlightened. Because to get to know something is to not know something. The precursor to knowing is to not know. The precursor to making great decision sometimes means not making good decisions, because those precursor things will inform you of what to do next and how to do it better. You get what I'm saying? So you're following the flow. You're listening to your gut instincts, and then you're following and you're seeing what doors are opening up for me. And the doors that are not opening up for you, don't pay attention to them. Pay attention to the opportunities that are opening up, and then follow that, and then see where it takes you. And then one step at a time. That's it. One step at a time. Okay. So that's, hi, Dr. Deasy. Hi, Moon. I want to quit my job 9 to 5 that is draining me mentally and physically, to concentrate on starting my own business, a healing website, but I'm not financially able to leave this job. Okay. I get it. I understand. Totally understand. Okay. So are you able to do something? Lots of people, how many entrepreneurs I have met, and they created a business, but they're still working. I've met so many of them. And that's the journey of expansion, is that, okay, how can I do this? How can I be creative? What are the resources that I have? Can I do my job on a more part-time basis? Can I, let's say if your company doesn't allow you to do it doesn't allow a part-time worker, then can I go to another company doing the same similar work and get paid, but doing it more part-time? That's one of the things that I would explore. Like, what are the creative ways? How much time can I allocate outside? Like, let's say right now you've got this 9 to 5 job. Do I have enough energy to allocate when I go home from the job or on the weekends? Do I have enough energy to work on this healing website? Do I have it, or do I not have it? And if you don't think you have the energy, then the thing is okay, how can I still get paid doing more of a part-time job and create more of that space, time and space for myself to do this healing website? So the thing is how can I activate my sacral chakra, the creative energy? How can I activate it to find different solutions for this issue? And how can I look at it in a different way, rather than keep saying, well, I can't do this because I have a 9 to 5. I can't do this because I have a 9 to 5. Again, that's not an abundant mindset. That's a mindset that's going to hold you down. You want a mindset that's going to start allowing you to go up that energetic ladder bit by bit, right? What can I say to myself that makes me feel a little better right now? What mindset, what abundant mindset says, you know what, I'm grateful for this job. And I know that I'm not going to have it forever because I'm going to move on from this job, right? So that makes you feel a little bit better, right? I'm grateful for the job that I have because it gives me the income, but I know I'm not going to have it forever, right? Doesn't that make you feel a little bit better than saying, oh God, I can't do this website because I have this 9 to 5? Again, you've got to shift how you see that job. You've got to shift it, because as you shift it and you have a more abundant take on that job, the more abundant mindset, bit by bit, you're freeing up energy. And when you free up that energy, the universal forces shows you might be in a supermarket and all of a sudden you meet the person, an employer that shows you a part-time job to do what you want to make that income, a part-time job doing the same work, and you're bringing in the income while you have more space to create your healing website. You see? But as you keep observing that you have this 9 to 5 that's preventing you from doing the healing website, that is the mindset that's going to hold you down. It's going to keep you down. And as it keeps you down, the universe, because it's inclusive, keeps showing the same thing over and over again. And as you see the same thing over and over again, you're going around in a vicious cycle. You're doing this, you're just spinning around. But if you start to say, you know what? I'm grateful for the job that I have because it brings me income, and I know that I'm not going to be here forever. I don't know exactly how, I don't know exactly when, but I'm going to have a healing website. Like that, I say that to myself all the time. I said, you know what? I don't know exactly how, I don't know exactly when, but it's all going to come together. I say that all the time. I don't know. All I focus is just that one step. So you've got to pay attention to how you're speaking to yourself. Because as you keep speaking that same language, you keep having the same emotions, and that same emotion keeps broadcasting out to the universe. And the universe, because it's inclusive, shows you the same over and over again. So what can you say to yourself that doesn't make you feel so against your job? What can you say to yourself? I would say something like, I'm grateful for the job because it brings me the income. And I know I'm not going to have this job forever. And I know in divine timing, I'll be able to leave it. I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't need to know, because the universal forces supports me and has infinite wisdom to show me the cooperative components. Like, I would say something like that already makes you feel a little better. And that's already more of an abundant energetic frequency. Okay. So that's what I would do, Dr. Deasy. And I totally understand how you feel. Totally. Daily Tiffany, I like this question. How can I ignore people who gossip about me? Yeah, that's a great question. How can you ignore that? You understand that people are gossiping about you. This is an inner world practice, because you have to get to a place where you just don't care what people say about you. You just don't care. So how can you get to a place where you just don't care? So, this applies to what Thich Nhat Hanh always says. You're only affected by what you allow to be affected by. You're affected by others because you allow to be affected. So basically what he's saying is you're allowing them to affect you. You're allowing them to bother you, right? And so how can I stop that feeling? How can I stop letting them? It's an internal work, right? It takes training. It takes training. So what I would do is this is, and maybe partly because you're empathic, because empathic people, where your emotional center is open, is always going to have a harder time than the people who's not empathic. Especially if you're empathic and you've got that emotional center open, you're always going to be more subject to being affected by what others say about you rather than the people whose emotional center is closed. Because I know some people, like, they don't care what people say about them. They don't care. They just don't care. And it's because they're not as empathic. And I'm very empathic, but I've trained myself not to care. So what are the things? Why don't you do this? Why don't you write down the things that you could say to yourself when somebody's gossiping about you? What can you say to yourself that makes you feel 2% like you don't, 2% more that you don't care? What can you say? Oh, they're gossiping about me, but you know, when people really talk about you, they're actually taking away your negative energy. So you know what I say? I say to myself, I say, thank you for allowing me to release and purify my energy. That's actually a metaphysical thing, is that when people say things badly about you, they're actually taking away your negative energy, helping to take away some of your negative energy, helping you to purify your energy. So I say something like, thank you for helping me purify my energy. I really believe that. How can you also make it so they're purifying your energy? How can they also make it? It's really not about you. It's really something about them. Because when people talk badly about other people, it's because they have things going on in their life that they're not happy about. That's why they have to talk bad about other people. Have you ever seen happy people talk bad about others? Happy people don't tend to do that, right? It's usually the miserable people that say something bad about others because they're miserable. They've got things in their life that they're not happy with. And so when they speak badly about you, they falsely believe that they're making them feel better, but they're making themselves feel better for only 2 seconds. Because after that 2 seconds, they got to now talk bad about somebody else, about another person. It just goes on forever until they have any self-awareness and they stop it themselves. So I say, I understand they're not happy with their life. And I have compassion for that. And I send them blessings from afar. But I know that I am a unique individual with unique talents and gifts that God has bestowed upon me that has nothing to do with their life, that I'm still continuing to grow and expand, and I'm building and I'm creating. And nothing's going to stop me from that. So it's, what can you say that makes you feel like they matter less and less? That's the abundant mindset here. Okay, so it's a beautiful question. Thank you so much. I get it. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, everyone. Hi, Dr. D. Klaus. How are you? Daily Tiffany, you're welcome. Okay, everyone, the hour's up. I want to wish you guys all a beautiful weekend coming up. I'm actually at the Health Conference Expo. It's like 90,000 people, and it's a beautiful conference. I just taking the energies of all these people. It's amazing. So because I've been going to this conference, I've been taking my Yuping Fang Sun. This helps to support a healthy immune system. Yuping Fang Sun Plus. Xiaoya Sun helps to calm and focus the mind. Check them out on the Yin and Yang Living shop, which is shop.yin-and-yang-living. And let's do a closing prayer and blessings for everybody, so that we can all go into the weekend with more high vibes frequency. Dear God, angel, spirit guides, and master divine creator, thank you so much for allowing us to talk about and open this sacred space on the topic of having an abundant mindset to manifest the life that we all desire on our soul's purpose, higher purpose life, for the infinite expansion and growth of our soul. I ask you to bless every single one of these beautiful viewers here, beautiful viewers, I know that each one of them has unique talents and gifts, unique ways to express themselves on this planet. Please help them to connect with their higher self, connect with their potential, connect with their infinite possibilities of what they could manifest and bring into their life, and to help create a better world and planet for ourselves. So thank you so much for your continued support, continued guidance, continued wisdoms, and continued protection. Most importantly, your unconditional love. And so it is. Namaste. So it is. I'll see you again next week. Much love and blessings to all of you. Bye.